Okay, let's be real. We all love using these super powerful AI coding assistants, right? But what happens when the bill comes? So today, we're going to break down how you can get the absolute most out of your AI tools without, breaking the bank. It's all about finding that perfect sweet spot between raw power, performance, and of course, cost.
So let me just ask you this. Are your AI costs kind of like a black box right now? You're building amazing software, you're solving really tough problems, but you've got this nagging feeling in the back of your head that you might be spending way more than you need to. If that sounds even a little bit familiar, you are in exactly the right place. We're about to turn that black box into a crystal clear dashboard.
All right, here's the game plan. We'll kick things off with the AI cost dilemma itself. Then I'll introduce a pretty cool analogy I like to call AI driving modes. From there, we'll get super practical, matching different tiers to different tasks, and we'll even look at how to take full manual control. And then we'll wrap it all up with a clear strategy on when to use which approach.
Okay, let's dive into the core concept here. To make this all feel really intuitive, I want you to think about choosing an AI model less like some complex technical decision and more like picking a driving mode in a modern car.
You already know this, right? You've got Eco mode for saving fuel on a long trip, Comfort for just cruising around town, and then Sport mode for when you really need to put the pedal down. The thing is, you don't need to know exactly what the engine is doing under the hood, you just pick the mode that fits what you're doing right now. We're going to apply that exact same thinking to our AI models.
And this whole idea actually has a name. It's the Model Tier Selector. Really, it's just a simple set of preset AI model pools. Each one is carefully designed to give you a very specific balance between power and cost, or capability and credit consumption. This way, you can just match the right tool to the job without having to overthink it every single time.
And here they are, our 5 driving modes. You've got Auto, which is kind of like your smart, do-it-all default setting. Then there's Ultimate and Performance for the real heavy lifting. Efficient is your go-to for the daily grind. And finally, you have Lite, which is completely free for those super quick tasks. Let's break down when you'd use each one.
So this is the crucial part, right? Matching these tiers to the stuff we actually do every day. Everything from asking a simple syntax question all the way to designing an entire system from the ground up.
So let's start with the two extremes just to make it really obvious. On one end, you have the Lite tier. This is perfect for a quick question, a simple bit of logic, and the best part is, it's totally free. Then, way over on the other side, you have the Ultimate tier. This is the big gun you pull out when you're designing complex system architecture. I mean, you wouldn't use a sledgehammer to hang a picture, would you? It's exactly the same idea.
Now, let's talk about the real workhorse, the Efficient tier. Honestly, this is probably what you'll be using for the bulk of your day-to-day work. Think about things like generating boilerplate code, creating unit tests, writing documentation, or just your standard everyday Q&A. It keeps the quality high, but dramatically cuts down on how many credits you're burning through.
Okay, but when the stakes get higher, that's when you shift up a gear to the Performance tier. This is for those moments where you really can't afford a mistake. You're implementing a core feature, you're deep in a nasty debugging session, or you're doing a major code refactor. In these cases, top-notch output quality and advanced reasoning are what matter most. And this table right here, this shows you the real-world cost. If we use Auto as our baseline, let's call it 1x, you can see the trade-offs plain as day. Ultimate cost about 1.6 times more, but look at Efficient. It's just a tiny fraction of the cost, at 0.3x. And Lite, of course, is 0. The financial impact here is incredibly clear.
And hey, if you're a visual person like me, this bar chart makes it even simpler. Just look at the massive difference between that little Efficient tier bar and the bars for Performance or Ultimate. We're talking about a huge difference in credit usage for tasks where you just don't need that absolute top-of-the-line power.
Let's actually put a hard number on that because this is wild. By consciously choosing the Efficient tier for your routine tasks, instead of just defaulting to Performance, you can save over 75% on credits. 75%. That is an absolute game changer for managing your budget, and you're not sacrificing your day-to-day productivity to do it.
And get this, switching between them is incredibly simple. It's literally 3 steps right inside the AI chat panel. You just open the selector, pick the tier you want, and boom, it applies instantly. You can even change it in the middle of a conversation if your task suddenly goes from simple to complex, or the other way around. Okay, so we've pretty much mastered the automatic transmission. But what if you're the kind of person who wants to take full manual control? Well, for advanced users who know exactly what they're looking for, there's another way to do it.
This just builds so perfectly on our analogy, doesn't it?
If the model tiers are like an automatic car's driving modes, then selecting a specific model yourself is just like switching over to a manual transmission. You are in complete control, choosing the exact gear, the exact model for its own unique strengths.
So here are just a few examples. You might pick Qwen Qoder because you want that bespoke coding experience, or maybe you'll grab GLM5 if you're deep in complex systems engineering. And notice their credit rates. They're also super low. This is for when you know a specific model is the absolute perfect tool for your very specific job.
So all of this brings us to the final piece of the puzzle. When should you use the tier selector, and when should you go all in and pick a specific model? Let's lay out a really clear strategy. Okay, the Model Tier Selector is your best friend when it comes to speed and convenience. It intelligently routes your request to the best model for that tier, all while balancing performance and system load. You just pick a mode, Eco, Comfort, Sport, and you let the system figure out the rest. It's that simple.
Now, on the other hand, selecting a specific model is for the expert. It's for when you have a strong preference for how a particular model thinks, or when your task just perfectly aligns with what that model is known to be good at. This is all about precision and that granular, fine-tuned control.
So here's the simple breakdown. For probably 90% of your work, just use the tiers. It is the fastest, easiest way to match power to your task. Only switch to a specific model when you have a really good reason to, like you absolutely need its unique strengths, or you want the most precise cost control you can possibly get.
All right, to wrap this all up, here are the key takeaways. First, always match the AI tier to your task's complexity. Second, make the efficient tier your default for daily work to get those massive savings. Third, don't forget about the free Lite tier for quick checks. And remember, you can switch these anytime, and you always have that manual transmission option to choose specific models for expert-level control.
You know, it really all comes down to this one idea. The goal isn't just to use AI, it's to use it smartly. Finding that perfect balance between development speed, the quality of the output, and controlling your costs, that is the mark of a truly efficient developer in today's world.
And that leaves us with a final thought to kind of chew on. As these AI tools get more and more integrated into everything we do, will mastering this kind of AI efficiency, knowing exactly which gear to be in for every single task, become just as fundamental a skill as writing clean, maintainable code? It's definitely something to think about.